Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. As I was well introduced, I'm Tabero Nechibungururu. Right. I've been in the BIM space for I think almost 14, 15 years now. Right. And I'm currently working with Modena. Right. And as you guys know, Modena has been around for quite a while. I think 25 years plus. Just servicing the industry, right? Specifically architects like you guys, interior designers. But we've been lucky to work throughout all the project stages, from inception all the way through to handover, right? So we come through with a lot of experience. We do have a stand-up side, right? I'm going to try not to make this very salesy, right? But I will be talking about AI and how it impacts our work as well as architect. I did study architecture at TUT, fortunately, just think. But it's not a sales pitch, right? I just want to have a conversation around the principle on AI and how AI is impacting our work, right? And also what types of technologies are there. There's a lot of AI things coming up. I can't go through everything in 40 minutes, but I just highlighted a few items, a few technologies that could be of great use to us. Okay, cool. Right, came across this quote here. Artificial intelligence is not a substitute for human intelligence. It is a tool to amplify human creativity and ingenuity. Right? And I found this very insightful for us as designers and creatives. We're coming into the space where we've got these computers that get to think for us. Right? A lot of times we want to create renders out of nowhere and not apply our creativity. And when you start using AI correctly, you start seeing the value and the worth it adds to your own workflows. So that's the idea with this session. Okay, and the theory and development of computer systems is able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, and in some cases we will surpass that. Right? There've been great presentations previously to mine that required humans to come up with that level of creativity. We just make use of computers to just add on to what we're doing. Okay. Right, okay, let's go for it. Can you guys hear me if I'm not close to it, guys? Okay, I need to read my notes, sorry guys. You can do that. Cool. Right, yes, unfortunately, AI is here to stay, okay? Right, there is a widespread adoption of generative AI tools, like as you know, ChatGPT, right? And a lot of people are using tools like ChatGPT, which is the generative AI, and they're creating AI agents to assist us with our workflow, as I'll show you in a moment. Right? And overall, AI is reshaping how we work, offering tools that can enhance productivity and also job satisfaction. Right? What is quite interesting, we do a lot of work with a lot of architectural firms, right, and some work in Middle East as well. And we found now when a job offer comes up, right, with specific specs, there's people go on to ChatGPT and upload their CV and set up the CV to suit that company's requirements, right? And stuff like that is happening because it's freely available. But what does it mean for us? What do we test for and what do we check for when we're doing your interviews and checking skill sets as well, right? So I just found that interesting. It's happening in South Africa and it's happening in the Middle East as well, right? And this one, interesting enough, I'm sure you guys know this, in the field of AI research, in 1977, IBM defeated a world-class champion, Garry Kasparov, in a landmark chess game versus a human machine. It was an AI, right? And this was already in 1977. A lot of documentation has been done from 1986, just gathering information on how supercomputing and generative AI can impact the way we work as well. Right, and as you can see on the screen here, the first publications from Autodesk side were around 2009, right? And in 2018, an AI lab was established within Autodesk. I was lucky enough to be in San Diego last year, and they showcased some ChatGPT plugins that go into tools like Revit, AutoCAD, and you can prompt it to do annotations, counts, etc., right? So that stuff is coming through. Right, and then we had last year a generative AI platform called Project Benini. Right, I want to get to the fun stuff, okay? Right, and the mission really is just, as a trusted technology partner for years, and is to harness the power of AI on behalf of you guys, and a duty to do so responsibly. Right, and all over the years, you can see on the screen we've had multiple tools, which I will go through some of them, right, where we've made use of our design tools and authoring tools and pairing it up with AI. Okay, can I get to the fun stuff? Yeah? Okay, cool. Okay, trusted, anyway. Cool, what is interesting for me with this, right, from 2020 when it came to design, right, as humans, as designers, we sort of relied on AI like 35%, we trusted it like 35% when it came to our output, right, and as we get closer to getting used to AI, most of our workflows become 50-50 human input and the other 50% technology, right? And technology, not just drawing a line and walls in an authoring tool, but giving correct prompts to get a specific outcome from it, right? Excuse me, guys. And then over the years, with AI improving as well, there's been a lot of capacity that it can do. Right, I'm sure you guys have seen that video with Will Smith eating a burger, and then 2 years later, ChatGPT was actually able to create a realistic video of him eating a burger. So that's the progression of AI. It's not where we want it to be yet, but it is progressing quite quickly. Right, so our capabilities, let me go into this. Okay, so my approach to this, as we work on projects, obviously from stage 1, stage 0, going into handover, there's certain tools that we traditionally use, and I'll show you some tools that we can make use of, right? So in the first stage, and when it comes to defining your brief and getting your concept together, the disruptive tools that I've highlighted here, it's a tool called TestFit, right? I'll show you a little bit of that. I spoke about ChatGPT, the Sidewalk Labs, and there's also a platform called Architecture, right? And during COVID times, I'm just making sure my internet is connected here with me, right? During COVID times, I was lucky to work with a developer that was doing affordable housing, right? But the guys would spend almost 6 months just value engineering a design that works for what the client is looking for. And it's actually getting the brief right and getting it to work. It's actually quite tough. It's much more tougher than getting the documentation out, right? So years ago, I'll show you this, connect this thing. I hope it doesn't disappoint me. Let's do this. Perfect, right? I will talk over it, right? But it's a platform called Architectures. If you want the website, it's architectures.ai. And now the idea with Architectures is for you to get onto a site. You guys can see this, right? Okay, cool. Let me just, can't even fast forward it. Okay. It's all online, right? Right, you'll go into Architectures, put in your site location. It does work with South African areas as well, right? And the idea with this is at an early stage, without having to sit down and put drawings together, renders, etc. You can go on a platform like Architectures, put in your site, put in your surrounding, your context, right? And immediately you can start sort of placing down conceptual masses of your residential property in this instance, and it comes in with sort of predefined rooms and layouts and apartments that you can edit. If you look on the right of the screen there, those are calculations, right, to be able to work out the cost of the project all the way through how it would operate as well, right? And this is getting done, this will probably take like 2-3 days to get to a level where you can define your apartments, define your unit typologies, get costing for it to pull through for your first proposals. So it's tools like this that help you plan and put a brief together early on in your project. And obviously, once you're ready, you can easily just upload it to either a CAD platform or a BIM platform like ArchiCAD, Revit, etc. Right? My Modena people are going to kill me today. I'm not going to talk about Autodesk on me, right? But that's the idea with early on putting a brief together using AI instead of sitting down and running through hundreds and hundreds of sketches. Does that make sense? Right? Okay, just gonna go to the next video. And then test fit itself, it's a little bit at a higher level, right? And as an owner and a developer, before they make purchase or make an investment on a piece of land, they need to make sure that it works, that it makes sense, right? So similar concept, not going as detailed as what's happening in the apartments. With this, they're able to define unit types, unit sizes, see if it makes financial sense for a project. And the same with test fit. This connects back to your authoring tools like Revit and CAD, and you're able to further develop your designs from it, right? And it is literally that intuitive where you can define your site, specify where your building is going to be. It will work out your parking ratios, give it the parking ratio that's required, and it will work out the parking for you. You take on that through Revit, and then you carry on with the rest of your designs. These are just some of the early tools that you could use in real estate development. We're not talking Trump today, sorry guys. Okay, next slide. There we go. Cool. Right, obviously when you come from that, you need to develop your concept. And the tool that I've highlighted here, it's a tool called French 3D. I'll show you a very short clip on that. It's a little bit of parametric design. Right, so when you do layouts inside a room, instead of having static layouts, you can take you through thousands and thousands of different layouts, and you just use the most optimal layout you want to use for your client. Right, and then there's Autodesk Forma, which I'll talk about as well, and DAL-E or Midjourney for renders. I don't want to talk about renders. There are renders outside by stand, right? Forma, firstly, in the office, we're just busy doing this. You guys know we are applying to bring Formula One into Cape Town in a couple of years' time, right? So we're taking that Formula One track, putting it in Forma, and the surrounding buildings wanted to know how much noise this event is going to create for them. So Forma is a platform within Forma where you can start creating massing, bring it from whatever tools I've shown you earlier, and you're able to start doing noise analysis, some wind analysis with your design and your concept. Okay? There's some site layout stuff that you could do. And the beautiful thing with Autodesk Forma, like what Autodesk is doing, you guys know making use of AI is just getting access to data. And a lot of times when we work in our different software and authoring tools, we were very, what version of Revit are you working from? Are you working on Civil 3D? So the industry is moving away from that type of thinking, where we're just sharing data, and we can make use of that data on platforms like Autodesk Forma to communicate better and collaborate better, right? So that's the thinking, and that's what's happening when it comes to your design tools as well, right? And software like Test Fit and Architecture, the one I showed you previously, they plug into your Autodesk Forma platform, which is free, right? And you can start making leverage of those tools as well, okay? So something that's been going on in the industry as well is our carbon analysis and the requirement to get to that 2030 target, right? And tools like Forma as well help us calculate and reduce those embodied carbon emissions in our projects. So you can make use of these platforms, give it input, and it will calculate your carbon analysis for you, right? Okay, I'm not going to play that video, right? Right. Then as we get into spatial coordination, right, the disruptive tools that I mentioned here, I'll talk about Finch as well. There's ACC, BIM Collaborate Pro, that gives you access to like coordinating and collaborating your project before you get to site, right? And what I found really cool here was this little tool here. It's a very short video, right? So from that conceptual mess that you would have created, if you pull your design and floor plan into a platform like Finch, right, on the right of the screen there, that's different layouts that it's created. So on the right there, that's a small number, that's 8. On this little space here, using AI, in seconds, it's gone through 836 different iterations of that floor plan, right? You can't do that as a human being, right? But you can feed it information on what type of apartments you want, how many rooms, etc., etc. go through different options, and then you're able to confidently go before a client and say, this is the most optimal design I have for you for this specific problem, right? And this is not just on layouts, this applies on anything, exterior work, etc., etc. Make sense? Okay, cool. Right, so that's quite a nice tool, and also with this feeds back into your authoring tools. You can create a CAD drawing, Revit floor plans, right? If you look back, there was Hyper on there. Hyper creates families for you, right? There's a platform where you can literally give it a 3D image, and it will pull out an OBJ file, which is a 3D file that you can put in your designs as well. Right, so that's how far AI is going. You don't have to spend time creating components and spending time creating all these heavy families, or you normally get enough projects to do. Right, but French is quite a cool tool. Right, so that's freely available. You can just go french3d.ai and then just grab one of those, right? So this is a little bit pixelated, but what you're seeing on the screen here, okay, that's perfect now. What you're seeing on the screen here on ACC, right? I'm sure a lot of us use Revit or Autodesk software, right? You can upload your project, and immediately it'll generate a clash report. It'll check it'll check for items that are clashing, right? And you're able to assign it to the responsible person. They deal with it before you hit construction, right? We always say you want to get to a zero clash model. Never happens. With tools like this, help you track delays that might come up on site, and see who's actually not modeling correctly as well, right? And if I just show you quickly, yeah, this was just, look at that. So it's immediately in this project, you can see on the screen there, right? There are models that have been uploaded to the platform. These are just normal Revit models from your consultant. And immediately you can see which models have major issues. For example, this West Services model in mechanical has currently got 5,464 clashes. So as the project starts and you're receiving information, you can keep track and manage what's happening or what's going to come in the future before you hit construction. And this is also an automated platform. We just use it to coordinate a lot of our clients' projects as well. But you all have access to this information if you do use ACC or Autodesk. Okay. For technical design, like when you get to, I don't have a lot of videos for this, but a very nice tool is swap.ai, right? It converts your schematics or your conceptual drawings to construction documentation. You obviously still need to check it, right? It's never 100%, but it's a nice tool where you can plug into your software and it starts assisting you with documenting your stuff. It's a little bit crazy, yeah. And there are ways, there's a thing that's coming up very soon. I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm going to say it. It's called Autodesk Assistant. It's already in the cloud, but it will be plugging into Revit and AutoCAD to assist you with similar stuff, right? Now, when it comes to AI and all these GPTs and AI agents, right, it's always better to go to a trusted company, right? Trust me, there's millions and millions. Anyone can go on and create a GPT to do a certain function, right? So you need to make sure that you always go through trusted platforms and trusted institutions like Autodesk. Okay, so that's how we're doing it as well, right? Various also does renders in your software, so it's AI renders, right? If you're familiar with Revit, I want to be a bit technical. You can place a camera, it will create a perspective, and then you can prompt it to use material that's not applied in the project to create that render, right? And the nice thing with that, as you know, with renders from an AI environment, if a client asks for a change, it's quite an issue to go back and remodel to make sure you fit their change. But Varus is built into Revit for that, right? We have tools like Dynamo. I'm not going to spend too much time with this, but Dynamo is a scripting tool in Revit. You can link it to your ChatGPT, and that's how they're doing it, getting it to do documentation, placing annotations for us in our Revit environment. Make sense? Okay. We've got generative design. This has been around for a while. I just want to get to almost the end of this. Some of you do have Revit users here, right? Do you guys know on Revit, you go to your home page, it will give you an insight on how you're using your software, which commands you're using the most, and where you can improve your use of Revit, right? This is how AI is already embedded in the tools that you're currently using, Okay, and this is just on your homepage. When you open up Revit, you'll get that little insight. Okay, so stage 5, construction. It's a little bit of ACC again, ACC build. Yeah, construction IQ tools that Autodesk has started introducing in there. And there's a tool that we've come across in other projects as well called N-Plan, right? And this is mainly for project managers, and it predicts delays on a project based on the input that we've been receiving. Like if you've got a shop fitter that's taking long, etc., some codes are not updated, it will be able to predict that for you, right? And within Autodesk itself, Construction IQ, just keeping track of what's happening on sites. And another quite a cool thing, when we're busy with, Calvin's name mentioned it, we're busy with a project in Sun City, in Lefika. It's just 83 units, I think it's 83 units. But the guys, when they were snagging, had over 10,000 snags. Right? So there were almost like 50,000 photos in that project. I wish I could open it up, right? But every single photo that was taken by anyone on the project, Autodesk was able to tag it, like correctly tag at the door frame, broken tile, etc., without any human input. So the project manager or client could go and check all the slabs. They'll just go into ACC, type in concrete slabs in a certain area. It will bring up all the photos and issues that have been assigned to that data, right? And that tagging is also happening in the background automatically. This is quite exciting for me. For handover, because we build for our properties to get used, right? And we've got Revit AI automation tools that have been built into Kobe just to structure your data, right? This is kind of work that we do, right? And then also there's a tool that we call Tandem that links your equipment on your building with your digital model, right? And I'll just show you quickly how that looks. As you guys know, data goes 95, I don't think you know this, let me not assume, but 95.5% of all data goes unused in engineering and construction. When we hand over our projects to owners, 58% of owners say they've had to move away from a design bid build project and design build, where they do the design and then they build because they have control of how they receive that information, right? And it's quite sad that 95% of that information that we work on for years and years to deliver a project becomes unused, right? We've actually, in Pretoria, we use this platform to do, with obviously assisting the client, to do the Department of Agriculture building. There's a requirement from government to receive a digital twin, which was quite shocking, right? But they're currently using a similar platform to manage and operate their building, right? So this is Tandem. I'm also able to bring up spaces, levels, and assets of a building very quickly. This is real time, right? I didn't fast forward this, and you can see that's quite a complex building, right? Right, and you select a specific space, and an operator is able to quickly see what's happening on the. Interestingly enough, if a building like this is connected to like internet and stuff to get your IoT devices going, guys mainly complain about temperature, right? Especially in this season, right? And for an operator of a building, for them to quickly find out where is this aircon connected, they'll need to go through documentation, walk around the building, go switch off the wrong one, go back, and it normally takes like 10 years to get the correct temperature, right? But with this, they're able to control it on the platform and know exactly where that equipment is. There's a connectivity of equipment, right? So it's in a similar building, and so the building operator is able to pick up a system, see what's happening with it, and what we want to do with this is basically start predicting the use of that, like the performance of that building, right? So currently, I won't mention names, but another project in Pretoria, right, where the operator now has to hand over up to 25 years of running a building, right? They approach this, they have no data, and they've been operating an 85,000 square meter building for the past 25 years. They need to hand over, and now we have to go back and scan, remodel, rebuild this whole digital twin for them, because they didn't really consider this type of data and stuff, right? Okay, it is interesting and scary at the same time. But the idea here is for us to get what we're very familiar with and what we're currently building. A lot of our work, we build digital twins, we build a digital model in Revit or whatever platform that you're using, But the idea is to get it to a place where it becomes autonomous, right? Where the models and the information that we're putting in there can start predicting the performance of that building. It makes it easier to plan operation of the structure, right? And what that would look like, just looks like a whole lot of graphs and stuff, but this is stuff that owners require to operate what we give, what we create from conceptual state all the way through to running of an asset for like 25 years like this. In this video, the specific building is calculating the amount of usage it has in a certain period, year, and for guys to track actual power usage, it's quite good. Some of our offices are currently not running on ESCOM, right? And it's also going on to residential as well, right? And for a user to be able to log onto a platform and see how are we spending electricity accurately, not the way they do it right now, excuse me, you can actually start planning ahead and reducing some of your equipment as well in your house. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna stop here. Thank you guys.